going behind and beyond the music. It's Real Talk with G-Love and Kenny the Rocker on Florida Man Radio.
All right, G-Love, you ready for this?
I am.
On the phone, bassist and vocalist, Fabrizio Grossi. How you doing, Fabrizio?
Hey, Kenny. Hi, Glenda. How are you guys?
All good, man. So I'm just looking. Easy said, "Hey, man, the producer. He's like, I really like this track."
Thank you.
He said the bass line's really good, and I'm like, well, it's written by a bass player. That's why. But this is your first solo thing ever.
Yes.
Now,
absolutely.
I was saying off the air, or not off the air, right before you came on the air, I was talking about how you played with Steve Vai. You got that thing that you did with Billy Gibbons and Kenny Aronoff and all that. But now you've got this Fabrizio Grossi and the Soul Garage Experience.
Yep, that's the name of my solo band. Actually, I added that additional moniker to my name, so we ended up in calling it Soul Garage Experience because I don't like to hear my name
right.
that often.
It's like a lot of pressure, right?
No, I just, Van Halen named a band after him, but that's Van Halen. I ain't no Van Halen. So,
right, well,
just name the band.
I do like the name. I mean, it's definitely funky, man. And we were talking, Easy's like, I want to hear some more tracks, so. But is it
coming soon, man?
Yeah, so
keep them rolling them out now.
Right. Now, these singles, this single that you did, this Right Down Below, this is a song that something about uplifting regarding fighting against social and what am I saying here? Homelessness. I'm messing it all up, but basically how LA is right now, correct? I mean, tell me a little bit about the song.
Well, it's actually, I'm using LA as an example because that's where I live, and I've been living for the last 25 years. Actually, I've been living, longer in Los Angeles than anywhere else around the world, including my native Italy. This is not, unfortunately, only the reality of Los Angeles, but in a lot of cities, and unfortunately, not only of this country, but also the Western world in general. And there is an everly increasing disparity of income and quality. Just people seems to be more immune to empathy wherever you go. It's kind of like a really, really, really sad scenario. For me, it's very affecting. It's affecting me big time because I'm living in Los Angeles. Los Angeles, it's a city of, technically like 21, 22 million people. So you can imagine the size of the population, but also we're living in California, which is actually happened to be the richest state in this country. It's the fifth economy in the world, and this is the richest country in the world. And I'm again talking about Los Angeles because that's where I live. But everywhere I went, it doesn't change. And
right.
I'm involved with a lot of charities, both from Guitar for Vets, so veterans affected with post-traumatic stress disorder that sometimes have to deal and battle homelessness. And also, I'm attached to Port Bound Home, which is a great charity in Los Angeles that takes care of family that lost their home because of loss of job or incomes and all of that. And we're not talking about crazy people. They're doing a lot of drugs and just go out of their mind, even though they should be helped too, because I do not believe in chastising anybody. There's always a reason behind everything, and before condemning somebody, I really would like to hear both sides of the story. This is something that's very plaguing. it's kind of like a shame because it attaches to a lot of other things, which are social injustice and not necessarily injustice itself, but in terms of like cultural and all of that possibility, access to the famous American dream and opportunity for everybody, which right now are completely gone. And the song itself was being inspired by some of my youth idols, and if you can definitely hear those influences in the song, whether it's from Bob Marley and the Clash. And funny enough, I mean, it's not really funny because it's a sad thing. Same thematics that those guys we used to use at the end of the 70s
right.
are very, very actual today. So I could have written this song. They could have written this song. I mean, probably they would have done a better job. But what we're talking about and it just it would be the same. I can sing one of their songs, and they could have been singing this song back then, and still talking about the same thing. So as far as humanity, we really didn't move forward that much in the last 40 years.
Now, as far as the album goes, I mean, is the whole album themed that way, or this just happens to be one song off the album that's that?
Well, just like it happens with my, other bigger band, Supersonic Blues Machine, I always embrace positivity in terms of lyrics.
Right.
So there's always been the Bob Dylan, Bob Marley, Marvin Gaye, John Lennon messages. Love, understanding, and plus because of my religious belief, I'm a Buddhist. There's always like a very positive and empowering other people type of concept. This record, though, is really my I would say activist side. I mean, it's not it's not offensive. I'm not calling names, and it's not a call to arms or anything like that. Absolutely not. But it's just kind of like I've never been one of those guys that, even though I like Motley Crue, I would never been able to write a song called Girls, Girls, Girls.
Right.
And again, it's nothing wrong with it. It's just not me. With everybody that is involved in my project, Stephen Perkins from Genes of Diction being the main touring drummer, and he recorded a bunch of the songs, Derek Day, Diamond Mix, and, everybody's like very, very socially aware of what's going on. We always work with charity. We're always dealing with, inner city kids, program for kids that cannot. I mean, it's just part of who we are. Especially right now, I think, it's in some songs probably you'll notice that more, in some songs less. Definitely not as agitated tone as Tom Morello would use, but I'm definitely in tune with what he said.
Right. So you're not writing any songs like Bosoms and Beers, what you're saying?
Absolutely not.
Lord have mercy.
I would enjoy both items separately.
I know you do.
Well, you look pretty hot on your website, Fabrizio.
Glenda wants, or G Love wants to say something there.
Yes, I said you look hot on your new website. You're a cutie at this picture. Yeah, I like it.
Thank you. It took a lot of photoshopping.
Oh my God! Stop it! I love your suit. You got like this medallion thing going on.
Let me see.
Oh no, you want to check him out now, don't you? And then he's got like on this paisley kind of cool shirt on.
Kind of pimping it a little bit, right?
He is pimping it.
Yeah, that's all good.
I told you.
Well, we talked about the lyric and social content of the record, which is very. Again, it's like very 60s, very 70s, like Flower Power, Summer of Love, and, civil rights and all of that. But actually the music, it's not really that far, because besides this song, which has a more kind of like, I would say, a reggae subtone or general tone, everything else is like everything that I cannot really try to force on Supersonic Blues Machine to do, which is like my, I would say, soul, R&B, funk, and, that's where I'm coming from musically wise. So the whole thing is like that. I mean, it's just like all those, Foxy Brown and all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
I mean, when I did the record, beside this song, which is was written during the pandemic, and actually it's the last song that I written for this record. Everything else, when it was assembled, we were putting it together and all of that. I always kind of like put in my head, if it cannot fit into a Quentin Tarantino movie,
right,
like Foxy Brown or something like that,
right,
Jackie Brown or something like that,
sure,
it's not good. So that's what I like. That's what I like to hear, and I like to listen to it in my down moments. So, that's what we're doing.
Nice. Now, I know you just dropped this single on Friday, correct?
Yeah.
And if people want to pick that up, how do they go about all that?
Okay, well, first of all, it's available on all platforms.
Okay.
I decided to do this independently from my record company, from the record company Supersonic Blues Machine, so I can talk about whatever I want to talk about it and give myself the time that I want it to give.
Right.
So you can find it on Apple Music, on Amazon, Spotify, under Fabrizio Grossi in a Soul Garage Experience. But you can obviously access the tracks even if you dial in only Soul Garage Experience. I also launched a new dedicated YouTube channel. It's Fabrizio Grossi and Soul Garage Experience, and I'm inviting everybody to subscribe and listen to it, because we're going to be posting a bunch of stuff. We have I'm kind of like giving myself the mission to do a video for each song that we're releasing. This is my debut as a video director, editor. I always produce the videos for artists that I work with and live concerts, but this is my first time behind the camera and in the editing suite. So I just kind of like give myself this mission. So if whoever subscribes to the channel is going to get a lot of content that is not the usual same version of the song or reposted or anything like that, but it's going to be a bunch of new content, entertaining, and conversation with the other guys in the band, and a bunch of cool things.
Yeah, no, I seen the video, man. I liked it. I seen the whole thing. A lot of video on LA, right? I mean, a lot of streets of LA.
Yes, actually, and if you notice that it's very intentional. The kind of tone is going to be probably the persistent thematic throughout the development of all the singles that will lead to the full record release early next year. This is like it reminded me of those videos and everything that was happening musically wise when I came to Los Angeles in the mid-90s. And some friends from some of those bands ended up telling me that they reminded them a lot of the work that they were doing back then. And I'm talking about like Sublime, Red Hot Chili Peppers and stuff like that. And I'm really proud of that, because it's just part of me right now. I mean, after 25 and something years in Los Angeles, I think that I live well with that.
Right.
Fabrizio, we were talking about this yesterday. We were over at Biketoberfest, and the one thing that I've noticed, I've kind of been really getting into more the bluesy sound and, just a little bit organic like that. And what I've noticed is, I don't know if it's just maybe because where music is today, but it seems like the blues, with the harmonica or the really good riffs with the guitar, like it's just not there anymore. I mean, do you feel like this sound that you have is something that we can actually bring back to the forefront?
Well, it depends. It depends what you're looking. To be honest with you, if you're looking at mainstream radio and contemporary pop artists, not really. I mean, actually, they kind of like scorn everything that is guitar-oriented.
Right.
But to be honest with you, I never really cared about the mainstream popular music, so, I couldn't care less about what they're doing. However, when it comes down to alternative and to played music, there has been a major resurgence of blues, Americana, actually more than Americana, because that kind of like tends to go towards the country aspect. I'm talking about the bluesy, like a more urban type of bluesy. So you got artists like Gary Clark Jr., Marcus King, Vintage Trouble, Rival Sons, Beth Smith. They're really killing it. That kind of sound is actually, it's more like of a retro approach with more contemporary, I guess, structure solutions in the songs and songwriting. But actually, that sound is quite alive. And the great thing that really makes me happy about it is that sound, it's not more only an American thing. Meaning, everybody knows about the big legacy and cultural background of majority of black music from the 60s and the 70s, and everybody that embraced that world, whether they were African Americans or whether they were, white or anything. It doesn't really matter. That music has always been loved from Jimi Hendrix and on. It's just, people embraced it. I found there is a lot of interest and artists playing that around the world, even in their own language. It's incredible. I just got today, I do not know how many emails between Australia, of course, they speak English over there, but beside Australia, I got Korea, Japan, and so many letters from Spain and Argentina telling me about the song and just sharing. Obviously for my other work, with the band and me as a producer, I get this kind of correspondence all the time. But it's just been amazing, like how in the last 6 months at least, I've seen like a resurgence, especially with young people.
Yeah.
And not like, people over 40 or whatever it is that comes, I guess you would expect they will like guitar music. I'm talking about younger people that kind of like finally dropped down the the Guitar Hero video game, and they're actually picking up a guitar for free.
Right. The thing is, we do a lot of independent bands on Wednesdays. We've done it, from Canada to Spain or whatever. And I noticed a lot of stuff. They're going back to like the 70s. It's got like the old, like the original kind of like a Led Zeppelin-y kind of meets Pink Floyd-y kind of stuff, which is really big now. It makes me excited that they're playing that. I'd rather have somebody, like I said, I mean, not being mean, but I'd rather have somebody be a kid, 16 with a guitar going, I want to be Jimmy Page, than a kid with a guitar going, I want to be, CeCe DeVille. I mean, at least that's going to keep going,
But you know what? Actually, just also to continue the answer I was giving Glenda, I've been actually amazed because I've been dealing with a bunch of music manufacturers from instruments and stuff that that I'm involved with, not only as an artist but sometimes a consultant too. And the guys from the Guitar Center, they were telling me that in the last year, the sales of guitars and basses, especially during the pandemic, it's not even like quadruple. I mean, you're going at like numbers that they were not doing in years. And now you're talking about with 150 stores closed at the moment nationwide. So there has been like a resurgence of interest in real played music. Don't get me wrong. I mean, there's nothing wrong to do music with computer-based, keyboards, pop. I respect everybody. If you do music from the heart, I don't care what you do. I'll take it and I'll listen to it and I pay attention. But obviously, when somebody, strums or struck a chord or, hit some strings, it kind of like hits home because that's my reality. That's where I'm coming from. So I'm probably more prone to pay attention to that. But it's actually really quite refreshing, to be honest with you.
Right.
And it will be amazed of any band, like you're saying, that I'm listening to, that I'm getting stuff from that have that kind of like Zeppelin-ish, almost like a Iron Butterfly.
Yep.
I mean, and the good thing is that the old lessons of the 2000s is like there's no genre no more. There is rock, there is hip hop, there is pop. Everything is mixed together. There is no the distinction like in movies like Quadrophenia, rockers versus mods. No, everything gets together. And I think that lesson and it's being assimilated by the younger musicians, especially the ones that wants to go into a more rocker or organic direction, and they're kind of like completely unleashing. They do not care about the length of the song to be able to be performed on the radio. It needs to be less than 3 minutes and all that kind of stuff that, unfortunately, record companies kind of like really got us to, really concentrate about it. I mean, the format is completely open, and you get some really, really, really interesting music components and elements. I mean, to be honest with you, I think this is, as far as like the creativity, this is probably the best time that there is out there to do music, man, at least in the last 20 years.
Wow. Well, listen, Fabrizio, we got to go, buddy. I mean, I could talk to you for an hour, but so just give everybody the rundown real quick, how they can track this this band down, the project, how to get the song, the video, all that.
Okay, so please, guys, follow me and follow us on Instagram at Soul Garage Fab, Fab as fabulous, F-A-B. So Soul Garage Fab on Instagram, same name on Facebook and same name on Twitter. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Fabrizio Grossi and Soul Garage Experience, and you can get the song on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, and basically all the major streaming platforms.
Sure.
And obviously my site, if you want to get all the information and all the links and all of that, you can go to FabrizioGrossi.com or SoulGarageExperience.com.
Listen, Fabrizio, you take care of yourself, man. I hope to see you soon. Let's stay in touch.
Likewise, I would love to take a flight to Florida, guys. So.
Yeah, ditto, brother. Hey, listen, talk to you soon, brother. Have a good one, man. Great job, by the way. Thanks, man.
Thank you, and thank you guys for having me. Have a good one.
You too. Later, buddy. That's Fabrizio Grossi.